The Undertaker says farewell on Twitter, Lana finally breaks the table streak, and in a Sportskeeda exclusive, Vince Russo says a heel will challenge The Undertaker before WrestleMania 37. Hello everyone, Jose G here bringing you today's top 5 stories in today's Sportskeeda News Roundup. The Undertaker says farewell on Twitter, thanks the WWE Universe. It has never been more clear that the legendary career of The Undertaker wrapped up at Survivor Series 30 years after it began. It's a moment that several members of the WWE Universe simply assumed would never happen. Fans have always expected one more appearance or match, but if the last 24 to 48 hours are any indication, this was the final nail in the coffin for the career of the Phenom. The Undertaker took to Twitter to say goodbye to the character and thank the WWE Universe. The tweet was short and sweet, but the statement and the photos included with it struck an emotional chord with his fan base. The tweet simply said, "The final bell tolls, #thank-you." The Undertaker's last match took place against the phenomenal AJ Styles at this year's WrestleMania in a cinematic Boneyard match. After defeating Styles, the Deadman secured himself a 25-2 record at the show of shows. It's a record that will probably stand the test of time and never be broken. Some fans complained that The Undertaker didn't get enough title runs, but no one can argue that the streak was regarded as something even more important than any championship title. Lana reacts to finally breaking the table streak on Raw. Raw superstar Lana will remember Monday night's edition of the Red Brand for a long time to come. On Monday, Lana managed not to get put through an announce table at the hands of Nia Jax. Lana had been put through the table by Jax on 9 consecutive occasions over the past 2 months or so, but the table streak has finally come to an end. Lana took to Twitter to acknowledge the same and seemed grateful after picking up a win and breaking the table streak. On Monday's episode of Raw, Lana teamed up with Asuka to take on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. As the match was coming to an end, Jax decided to put Lana through a table and was about to hit her with a Samoan drop when Lana managed to slide off. Jax charged at Lana, who dodged, leading to Jax flying over the table and landing hard. In the end, Asuka rolled Baszler for the pin to win the match. The never-ending attacks from Nia Jax on Lana were getting on fans' nerves at this point, and WWE was getting slammed on social media for the same. Here's hoping that she doesn't get put through a table by Jax again for a long time to come. Vince Russo says a heel will challenge The Undertaker before WrestleMania 37 in this Sportskeeda exclusive. The Undertaker officially ended his career at Survivor Series, and the belief is that the final farewell segment was indeed the Deadman's way of telling the fans that he is done. However, The Undertaker has changed his mind about retirement on several occasions in the past, and a section of the fan base is still not convinced by his latest retirement. Vince Russo and Dr. Chris Featherstone discussed The Undertaker's retirement segment from Survivor Series on the latest edition of Legion of Raw. Vince Russo was sure that a top heel would challenge The Undertaker before WrestleMania 37. The former WWE head writer explained that The Undertaker ended his promo by saying that it was now time for him to rest in peace. Russo noted that a heel would challenge The Undertaker's statement by saying that the Phenom would not be able to rest in peace until he says so. Here's what Vince Russo had to say to our very own Dr. Chris Featherstone on last night's episode of Legion of Raw here on Sportskeeda.
And then this is his big retirement, right? This is it. This is it. Yeah. His wife ain't there?
Yeah, good point.
I'm like, what? Bro, mark my words, mark down this date. Bro, that interview ended with him and Gimmick and Kane and Gimmick and everybody Gimmick. Bro, the interview ended with, now it's time for me to rest in peace. I guarantee you, Chris, between now and WrestleMania, you're going to have a heel say, You don't rest in peace until I say you rest in peace. Mark my words, bro. Because
what do you think it's going to be?
I don't know, bro, but there's no way they could put on something that ridiculous if that was really the final. I mean, absolutely no way.
You can watch full episodes of Legion of Raw with Dr. Chris Featherstone on our YouTube channel and Facebook page. Eric Bischoff reveals what AEW and WWE are getting wrong. Eric Bischoff is a former executive in WCW as well as a former Raw general manager. Bischoff was also an executive on WWE SmackDown for a period of last year. Bischoff has also made a couple of appearances in All Elite Wrestling this year. On a recent episode on Everything Is, Eric Bischoff discussed the current state of both WWE and AEW. Bischoff gave his opinion on what the two promotions are doing wrong at the moment. Bischoff criticized both WWE and AEW for not growing their audience. Bischoff was also of the opinion that neither promotion was doing enough or knew enough stuff to draw in new fans, saying, quote, "I'll say this, and this is not gonna go over well, and it may be certain that I never get a phone call from AEW again or WWE because I'm going to criticize them both for the same thing. Neither one of them are growing the audience. Neither one of them are doing anything new that hasn't been done before. At least not doing anything big enough or new enough that they're not growing the audience. AEW is hanging on to the same 700,000-800,000 viewers. Every once in a while, they get a little more than that. Every once in a while, they'll get a little less than that. But they're hanging on to the same, let's call it 800,000 viewer average. That's what they had last year at the same time before COVID. WWE is barely hanging on to their audience. Their audience is deteriorating." End quote. Eric Bischoff also added that neither WWE or AEW are doing anything to revolutionize professional wrestling. Big triple threat #1 contenders match set for next week's Raw. WWE has announced that Drew McIntyre's opponent for TLC will be determined on next week's Raw in a triple threat match. On Monday night, we saw 3 singles qualifying matches with the winners moving on to a huge triple threat match to determine the #1 contender to Drew McIntyre's WWE title. It'll be Keith Lee versus AJ Styles versus Riddle facing each other, with the winner going on to challenge McIntyre at TLC. There has been rumors and speculations about Braun Strowman challenging McIntyre for the title, but as seen on Raw, Strowman attacked WWE official Adam Pearce and was later escorted out of the building. There are no reports yet as to what repercussions Strowman will suffer for attacking a WWE official. Thanks for watching today's Sportskeeda News Roundup. Follow us on all of our social media. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Download the Sportskeeda app from the App Store for the most up-to-date news stories in the world of wrestling.